You talk too much.
All right, y'all. So today I want to talk, a little bit more vulnerable with y'all today about something, that I don't want to say I'm struggling with, but something that, I'm trying to evolve and grow in, and that's empathy. Um, I think when it comes to empathy, so first off, what is empathy? Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and feeling what they feel. A big difference between empathy and sympathy. Now, I can feel sympathy for a lot of people, feel bad for them, like, man, like, I'm sorry you're going through that. But the empathy part, sometimes I have a problem with. And I've been analyzing myself and trying to figure out, like, where is this stemming from? Like, why can't I, feel empathetic for people? And it's something I really want to get better at, because I feel like that's a trait that you should have. Now, you also could be too empathetic and, have people run all over you. But I'm the opposite, where it's kind of like, it's hard for me to really, just be able to feel when somebody else is sad or when somebody else is angry and feel that emotion for them. It's very hard for me to do that. So I've been analyzing myself and just trying to figure out, like, why is it so hard for me to do that? You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for me in multiple places of my life. I mean, in relationships, at the workplace, it's hard for me to feel that empathy when somebody's real upset, to be like, hold on, wait, they're upset, or even know that that's what they're feeling. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a psychopath. I'm not all the way crazy. Like, I don't feel anything for anybody, and I'm not like that. But I do know I struggle with, feeling empathy for, certain things with certain people. So I've been analyzing myself and trying to figure out, where exactly that stems from. And for those who that don't know me, I think it stems from me. I went through a lot of trauma in my teenage years. I lost my father. My mom went schizophrenic, bipolar, depression after my father passed away. And what I'm realizing about myself, I think it's a trauma response not to feel empathy, because, how do I say this? I mean, for anything, to be good at anything, you have to be able to do it for yourself first. That's what I believe, right? So if I want to practice empathy with other people, I have to feel empathy for myself. And I think with what I've been through teenage years and just certain stuff I've been through, I don't allow the space to feel empathy even for myself, because I was put in situations where I had to always just figure out the next thing and just always like keep going without feeling any empathy even for myself. So sometimes, I don't even know how I feel about certain situations because I had to always keep going. Now, what do I mean by that? My father passed when I was 16 years old, right? Obviously, me and my father were like this. That's one of the biggest losses that you can suffer, especially as a son. Just losing your dad is everything to me. I feel like I didn't have the space to even feel empathetic for my own self, because right after my father passed away, my mom went through a depressive state with schizophrenic, bipolar. She stabbed me when I was a teenager, and I was just put in a role of I was a parent to a parent. I was put in the role of a parent. So I think what that did to me, it didn't give me time to really feel my own empathy for myself. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, it didn't allow me to, feel my own empathy. Like, man, even know what I'm feeling. So how can I be good at, feeling what other people feel if I don't know how I feel about, certain things? And I think over years and years of dealing with my mother and dealing with, I've been in toxic relationships. It's kind of like, I don't know how to feel certain things that other people feel. It's almost like I'm numb to certain stuff, and, I really want to get back into therapy. I've been to therapy, it's helped a lot, because I don't want to be that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to not be empathetic. But sometimes when some people are, I think going through that death of my father really just made me realize, a lot of this shit in life just don't matter. So it's hard for me to feel empathetic for people that put myself in their shoes and say, I have a friend that's struggling about, like, oh my God, I'm about to fail a test in college or something. Like, for me, it's like, I don't feel the empathy because I'm kind of like, yo, like, that's the worst of your worries, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm trying not to be that way, and compare my life to other people and still have empathy for other people. But it's hard. I'm gonna be honest, it's very hard. And I think also what plays a big factor was my mother. At the time of losing my father, I didn't get any empathy from my mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, and I'm the only child, so I didn't have any siblings. I really went through that alone, and I think it's a trauma response now where I'm just like, so much stuff doesn't bother me. I'm like, all right, well, this might be bad, but shit, at least, nobody's dying. Like, nobody's dead. Like, it's a trauma response. So sometimes it's hard for me to connect with people in their everyday struggles, whatever they're sad about, because, I view what they're sad about, I don't view as, sad. And that can kind of, make me lack empathy. If I'm being honest, I can feel sorry, I can feel, sympathy, but empathy is, it's a little bit harder for me. So, I'm just trying to, grow and, probably go back to therapy. Just wanted to have this vulnerable, conversation with y'all, and just like wondering if anybody else feels that way. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not like I'm a psychopath. Like, of course I feel for people, especially kids. I think having my son, that is what really helped me with the empathy part. I feel what he feels. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, even in my relationship, me and my girlfriend have, conversations where she'll question if, like, I'm emotionally there with her sometimes, because she might get upset over something that I view as small, and it's hard for me to put myself in her mind and view it as big of a thing as she does. And that's something I just want to get better at. You know what I'm saying? And again, I think the root of the issue really is the traumas, and I know it's a trauma response. And I'm really working through trying to better that within myself. So yeah, anybody that's watching this, anybody that feels like I wasn't empathetic towards, them in a situation, whether, I've been in relationships where, I've left the relationship and the girl I was with probably felt terrible, and I just moved on because my mind is just so wired to keep moving that, it's hard for me to feel empathy in moments. You know what I'm saying? Even for myself. And like I said, if you can't feel empathy for yourself, how are you going to practice that with somebody else? So I'm working through it. It's an everyday struggle. It's up and down. I believe I'm getting better. My plan is to go back to therapy for some of the traumas I've been through and, really work through that empathy part. But yeah, man. Till next time, you already know who it is. Your boy said he said, aka said no man, aka it's me. Who else could it be? Said talk, never TED talk. I'm out.